Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am sharing a really large and long video, but it is because I am showing 4 cards with only using one stamp set. So in the beginning I will be coloring all my images. I did that for the coloring challenge by Cataract and I'm now recoloring it so that you can see where all those images come from and how I color them in with my ZIGS. I will be listing all my colors down below, and afterwards, if they are all colored, I will continue with each card. So while coloring, I will be putting on some music, and as this is a really lengthy video for these 4 cards, you can also look at it in 4 different time periods, because of course you can already see some cards that I haven't shown yet on my Instagram account, because I'm only going to show 1 card each day, so you can see it as a preview or just wait to see them all until I have released them on Instagram. But I'm really happy that you are joining in, and I hope that you can stick it out fully till the end. And if you have any questions or whatsoever, just leave them down below and I will try to answer them as quick as possible. So have fun watching. So onto the first card, I am going to use my penguins and also the snowy sky scene from Hello Bluebird. So here you can see that I have die cut already this die out of some Neenah 110 cardstock, and I'm going to ink blend some Tumbled glass and Stormy sky on top of these pieces to create my background. And here I saw that my finger was filthy and I had left a print on top of this piece, but I will cover it with one of my penguins so I didn't have to start over. And I will put on some music for the following part of the blending. So next up, I am going to stamp out my sentiment. I decided to use 2 sentiments and split them one per snowy hill. And I'm going to use the same Stormy Sky Distress Oxide ink to stamp it out onto these hills. With all the elements ready, I can start with adhering everything onto an American size card base. So therefore I am starting with my background and I am going to add some dimension. So my sky and my top hill will be laid out flat using this liquid glue from Fawn. And I will adhere the bottom hill by using some Scotch foam tape. Now I'm just adhering the penguins. So for this one I'm using a combination of liquid glue and some foam tape to get it at an even height as the hill. And for my second one I am using some foam squares from Scrapbook Adhesives. And now I'm just finishing my panel by using these Nuvo glitter drops. These are Nuvo crystal drops. And then my first card is finished. So if you're already interested in the rest of the cards, then you can just continue watching. If you prefer watching another time, then just continue from now on in one of your next moments on YouTube. Time for card number 2. So for this one I am featuring my foxes that I have colored in and also the winter woods overlay from Hello Bluebird. So I die cut this overlay out of Neenah, and this piece of paper is a bit smaller than this overlay, and I'm going to ink blend some cracked pistachio on top of it, but also some evergreen bow on the bottom. So I want to create a gradient, and it doesn't have to be all cracked pistachio, it can also be a bit of white on the back. I don't mind that, it makes it a bit softer. So I'm just adding cracked pistachio, and now I'm going to add some darker evergreen bow. So now that the blending is done, I am going to adhere this overlay by adding some liquid glue from Fawn on the back, and I am adding it onto my blended piece, making sure that it is covering the whole empty space of the sky. So next up I decided to add some sentiments onto my background. So therefore I'm just taking some smaller sentiments from this stamp set, and I am going to stamp it out using cracked pistachio Distress Oxide ink, trying to line it up as straight as possible. And then I decided that I wanted to have some glitter on the bottom of this panel. So therefore I'm adding some more liquid glue. And I'm gonna throw some fine glitter, clear iridescent from Little Things on top of it. So I've taken a piece of scrap paper to pour all the glitter on top of this card base and card panel and be able to catch everything to pour back into the little bag. And then I can start adhering my critters. So now I just have to adhere this panel onto my American size card base using some pretty adhesive roller for that. And then I decided to add some more Nuvo glitter drops onto the sky to get that feel of snow as well as some more glitter. And then this card is also finished. So my second card, I know that I'm always using the same critters on each card. It's just how it turned out this time. But of course you can also mix and match it. But I'm just making some simple cards, and this was what I came up with. And it just ended to be the same critter each time. So if you only want to watch till now, that's totally fine. I am so happy that you came around. Always welcome to watch the rest, and if you are still hanging in there and want to see the other cards as well, please stay. Card number 3. For this card I used the stitched hillside backdrop portrait from Fawn for the background, and I also used these trees from this die set, and I am featuring my bunnies. So I was thinking about making a more romantic Christmassy card. Therefore I decided to use some reds and pinks, as you will see really soon in my background. So I'm taping down my panel because, as you know, I really like that detailing on the edges to be white. So just taking my purple tape and masking that off. For the background I decided to use some Distress Oxide inks, being Spun Sugar and Festive Berries. I fiddled a bit with my background in the beginning, but in the end I am going much faster by not being this fiddly. I first wanted to only have the edges to be pink, but then my blending was a bit too heavy, so remember, always try to do a bit light-handed. But for me it's easier when I have a larger brush to go a bit softer. So I took my larger brush and blended on this worn lipstick, and now I am continuing with my Festive Berries. I will be going back and forth between these two colors to make sure that the blending is perfect. But because I saw that the blending got really dark, I decided to use my Hero Hues Unicorn Pigment ink, and with that one I am blending a bit of white onto the snowy borders to soften that pink a bit more, and it turned out lovely in my opinion. So after I was happy, I stopped with the blending of these hills and continued on my trees. For the trees I decided to blend the same inks on top of it, but using the leftover ink on my brush and also what I could pick up from this paper. So I'm just blending. It doesn't have to be fully pink, only a bit is good. I don't mind it at all. I blended a few of them and I kept a few of them white as well, because I wanted to mix them and create a wonderful scene with the combination of the two. So I'm testing out placement, and I fiddled a bit with the trees, but in the end I'm really happy with my layout. But before continuing with adhering all the pieces, I decided to add some in-country pixie dust. I really like the effect that it gives. Just splattering it around, and when you tilt it towards the light, it's so gorgeous, the shimmer in it, but in the end it's also really subtle, and I really like using it on my Christmassy cards. I'm peeling off my purple tape, and then I will heat set this panel a bit more so that I can add my images without smearing the in-country pixie dust. Now that I am happy with placement, I can adhere it. Therefore, I'm using some liquid glue from Fawn to adhere it flat on my panel. And then I will lift up the images some more to get a dimension going. For my images, I will be using some thin foam squares from Scrapbook Adhesives. As you all know, it's one of my favorite adhesives because it's not that high, but in the end it creates that dimension that you want. So of course I'm using it once more, but I will be putting on some music while I am gluing everything down to get a more pleasant video for you guys. I decided that there was still something missing, and therefore I took the Let It Snow from the snowy sky scene from Hello Bluebird, and I die cut it out of Neenah 110 once more, and then I glued it on top of my sky, and it really added something to my card, I guess. I was really happy with this idea. So I'm gluing it down once more with some liquid glue, and then I will just add some final details. I am gluing my panel down on top of an American sized card base using my permanent print adhesive roller, and then I am going to add some more snow by using the Nuvo Crystal Drops Ivory Seashell, and I will also add some glossy accents onto their noses, and then my card is finished. So this is my third card for this video. There is still one more card to show you. So if you are still hanging in there, I would love you to watch a bit further, and then you have seen it all. And otherwise, I am really glad that you stopped by, and hopefully you will be back for the rest. Onto my fourth and final card for this video. Therefore, I only have my reindeers left, so you can already guess it, I am going to use them. I decided that I wanted to make a shaker card. It has been a while since I did that, so using the Warm Wishes word from Hello Bluebird, and I am going to die cut it out of this rectangle that I have die cut already using the basic rectangles from Mama Elephant. So this is a piece of Neenah 110. So as you can see here, I am taping down all the pieces in the same rectangle, still because I am first going to blend some of distress inks on top of this panel, and then I can just remove the Warm Wishes and all the blending will be smooth. So, not a surprise, I am taping down this panel, reserving the stitch details on the edges. And then I am going to blend some Distress Ink Cracked Pistachio and Evergreen Bow on top of this panel. Now I can remove my purple tape and continue with my shaker part. So therefore I am flipping this panel upside down and I am removing the warm wishes as well, so that I can put some acetate on the back of this panel, which will be the window of my shaker. To adhere this acetate, I am using the same liquid glue as before from Fawn, and I'm just scribbling it around the word. And here I am pressing down that acetate, and now I am going to inlay all the inside pieces of this word so that the word will be visible and clear for everyone. Gluing down my images. So to get all the pieces moving from my shaker, I am using some Dari's foam strips, which I really like. It's the perfect height for creating a shaker card, and it also is easy to bend. So just peel off both sides of the release paper, and then you can just turn it the way you want it to. So I'm adding it, and it's really important that you close the circuit, so there should not be any holes there where the shaker materials are gonna be. So here I am fiddling with my foam strips and making sure that it is closed. Something that I forgot for this shaker card is to go around the edges of my inside shaker part with some anti-static powder tool or something like that, so that my shaker materials would not be stuck, but in the end it's not that bad. I'm just using some white pearls that I bought in a local store, because these look like snow, and I am peeling off each release strip so that I can adhere it on top of an American card base. I tried really hard to place it directly in the right spot, and then I realized that I had the card backwards, so that was not a good idea. So I was really disappointed, but then I kept my cool, and I cut it off this card base and added it on top of a new card base, but this time in the right way up. And that finishes also my card. So these are my 4 cards with 1 stamp set. They are really simple and easy to make. I really hope that you like the designs, and if you have any questions or comments, you can always leave them down below. I will answer as quick as possible. I'm so glad that you stopped by, that you watched this whole video, or that you have had interest in some of my cards. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!